Sawadee Krub, how are you? G'day, how's it going? Thanks for clicking on this video because today I am coming to you from the Hui Cow Arboretum in Chiang Mai, which is adjacent to the Chiang Mai University in the Suthep district, sub-district. Today I'm going to be focusing on licensing, so motorbike, car, international driving permits, what you may find interesting and or need when you come to visit Chiang Mai and indeed Thailand overall. A number of different reasons for this. One is because it's quite appropriate timing for me. I'm about to go in the next few days to sit for my Thai car driver's license. Now the reason I'm needing to do that is because I've been living in Thailand for nearly a year now, and a little bit of an issue with my Australian car driver's license, and that is that my old one had expired. I did renew it before I left Australia, but it wasn't mailed to me before I left. Good old Australia Post, eh? Anyway, created a little bit of an issue as I have friends and family coming to visit me over the next couple of months, and I don't have a car driver's license that I can produce for me to legally drive in Thailand. Now that's a car, I have my motorbike license. So until I return to Australia, I can't get a copy of my Australian car driver's license. So I figured time is too short, I'm not going to make it, so I'll go and get my Thai car license, which as I said I'm doing over the next few days, which I'll explain to you shortly. So I want to find a way to explain to people how important it is to have the appropriate licenses or permits when riding and driving in Thailand. Quite a few reasons for that. Obviously you need to oblige the legislation in the country that you're visiting, here being Thailand. One way to do that is to get yourself an international driver's permit from your home country before you leave. Now, I don't know what the process is for other countries, but for Australia, and indeed South Australia where I'm from, I'll get rid of all these mozzies. It was quite a simple process. I just needed to take in a passport size photograph of myself, recent one within the last 12 months, and go to my RAA in South Australia, which is the Royal Automobile Association. You can choose the relevant one for your state in Australia, and likewise with other countries, states and territories. So that just, I think that cost me around about the $50 mark. Don't quote me on that, but it's around about that. Produce your original Australian license. They write all your details down. And one of the important things to remember is on the international driver's permit, there are a number of different categories or classes of license that they'll either stamp approved or not approved for. Meaning that if you have a motorbike license from your home country, they will stamp that one positive. If you don't have that, they'll stamp it, but it won't be approved. So you'll only get approved for an international driver's permit for the licenses that you hold in your home country or state. So make sure you're aware of that, because you may think, well, I'm not going to drive a car, I've got a motorbike license, I'll get the permit for that. But if you don't get the car permit stamped, then when you get to the country, your international driver's permit isn't valid for that class of license. So it's important to remember that when you do apply for it. In Thailand, the IDP, the International Driver's Permit, is only valid for 3 months. Now, I think there's some restrictions in and around that, being that from the date you land in the country, I believe that 3 months starts from then. I could be corrected on that, and I think it does vary between country and country, but in Thailand, 3 months validity for the class that you're operating. So again, keep that one in mind. Be prepared. I don't know how long it might take for you where you are, but I basically just went into the office with my passport and it was done within 10 minutes. So fairly straightforward. Now, one of the reasons I'm saying this is because I have heard anecdotally stories of foreigners getting into problems while in Thailand after having an accident and not only injuring themselves but potentially other people and properties. So this is where insurance comes in. So again, I'll take it from my personal experiences and examples, but if you don't have an IDP or a relevant license to operate the vehicle that you're driving or riding, then more than likely your insurance company, travel insurance, isn't going to pay up. You've essentially broken the law, which will then nullify any insurance that you have. So there's a financial and I suppose physical and emotional damage to be done there as well. Now, if you do have a license, if you do have travel insurance, make sure, mozzie up the nose, make sure that you have the appropriate travel insurance that covers those activities. Similarly, I believe if you go snow skiing or rock climbing or bungee jumping, some travel insurances won't cover those activities. So likewise, if you're an unlicensed bike rider in Thailand, your insurance company isn't going to cover you. Therefore, if you have an accident, all your medical expenses are going to be on you. The damages to people and property, injuries, maybe a death, you're liable for the whole lot because your insurance isn't covered for those activities or for that situation. So tick all the boxes, please, because I have heard a lot of people have got into a lot of trouble financially, legally. You don't want to be one of those people. Now, you may have heard in the past about Thailand's road statistics, accidents, deaths and so forth, and they're not encouraging. I was aware of that, so I'm willing to take that perceived risk. I say perceived, it's a reality, but with a little bit of common sense, a little bit of safety awareness, following the rules, you shouldn't have an issue. I say shouldn't, but there are many different risky things that we do in our lives that we don't always consider the ramifications of or the consequences thereof. So I think it's important that you do understand the potential risks in Thailand, and I'll put some statistics up on the screen for you just briefly. I don't want to delve into that too much, but it's a reality here. And I've shown you some footage of me traveling into Chiang Mai from the northern sub-districts of the city, and you can see it looks like chaos, and to a certain extent it is, but it's an organized chaos. People will pull out from side streets, some people will cross the roads, they'll veer into a left lane, they'll stay in the motorcycle lane, which is generally on the left hand side next to the curb as you travel along the roads, both highways, secondary roads and suburban streets, if you will. So while it can be alarming, and you do see some of the reasons why, with hoons tearing down the streets on their 125s doing 600 kilometers an hour. I'm exaggerating, but they are going way too fast for the situation that they're in. And I was young once, and I admittedly took a few risks now and then, but you do have to weigh it up with a healthy dose of common sense. But the irony in that is that it's not so common with some people. And it has to be measured against your level of experience both in the country and your riding/driving abilities and experience. So just keep that in mind when you are planning to travel throughout Thailand with you driving the vehicle yourself. Another very important topic that needs to be spoken about, and it's quite relevant too because some of the rules have changed and fines have changed recently in Thailand, where not wearing a helmet can incur a very much increased fine for you and for your rider, for your pillion passenger. They can also incur those fines as well. Now, not wearing a helmet, you're going to cop it. Okay, there are a number of police checkpoints around Chiang Mai city, some of the highways, and even up in some of the mountainous roads around Chiang Mai and surrounding provinces. So eventually you're going to get caught. And I say that because I have once, and yes, I was doing the wrong thing, wasn't wearing a helmet. I was literally going to the 7-Eleven 2 minutes away, happened to ride past and into a police traffic checkpoint. So I'll suck that up. Okay, my fault, just unfortunate. But if you have a look at some of those statistics that I put up on the screen earlier, a lot of those statistics didn't need to happen, purely and simply because people weren't wearing a helmet. Yes, they may have got injured, but not permanently or forever. So yeah, please, I know it's fun, you're on holiday, you're riding around carefree, footloose, not wearing a helmet like some of the locals do. Yeah, I don't think it's worth it. Again, measured up against the fact that you may have had a few drinks, you may not be licensed, distracted through friends, the experiences that you're having, I understand that. But you only need to crash once, and that's the unfortunate reality that people get into, that, you know, they don't wake up. Another thing alongside the helmet issue is the other protective clothing. Okay, now if you're going on a longer trip, you're going from Chiang Mai to Bai or another province, maybe traveling from Bangkok to Chiang Mai or anywhere. If you're going on a longer trip, then make sure you're wearing the appropriate clothes. At the very least, you should have a decent pair of shoes. I would advise certainly long pants, jeans, full sleeved shirts, okay, full length, long sleeve shirts, because I can tell you, coming from Australia, where we have plenty of sun and it is hot, it can be very similar here in Thailand. While it's very much a tropical country, the sun does have a bite to it. And I can tell you that, I won't show you my stomach, but you know, my arms are quite brown. And that's because I've had them exposed way too long while I'm out riding on the motorbike. If I'm wearing a short sleeve, I'm going to be out riding for a while. I've actually got some independent sleeves that you can put on each forearm to protect you from the sun, along with a decent pair of gloves. Now again, protection from the sun, but if you do have an accident, you've at least got some protection for your hands. Again, if you're going on the longer journeys, you need to make sure that you've got a decent jacket. Now I was lucky enough that when I got here that my mate Dave gave me one of his jackets that he no longer uses, so I should have brought it to show you, but essentially it is a rider's jacket. It has shoulder, elbow, back, neck protection, padding built into the jacket itself. It has a number of zips on it to allow airflow through, because I can tell you, when you're on a long ride in the middle of the day in Thailand, and if you go back and have a look at a couple of our previous videos, you can suffer from the heat. So make sure you've got a good jacket, riding jacket, that suits the purpose for your trip. And again, this is all about making sure that not only are you reasonably comfortable, but you're as safe as you can be. Now, touch wood, I haven't had what you would call an accident in Thailand. Most of my experience riding a motorbike is in Thailand. I did have a couple of motorbikes when I was younger, in my teens, just a little 250s. In fact, I had a 1968 Honda CB250, and I think it was a 1984 Honda VT250F. Now, the 1968 CB250 has a bit of bucket of bolts, but it was a good, reliable vehicle, a good, reliable bike. Would I ride it now, the way it was in? No, forget it. But as you may have seen from previous videos, I do have a Honda NX500, which I love. It's a fantastic bike. Go and have a look at the reviews on that one. But it is a very nice bike. It is decked out for the longer road trips here in Thailand. It does have some off-road capability. I am not an off-road rider per se. I have been on quite a number of tracks, but I'm more of a road person, but the bike can handle a bit of, well, certainly the road, and a bit of off-road stuff as well. So I really like it. And as I alluded to before, you really do need to expect the unexpected with Thailand traffic. Both the cities, the towns, regional areas, mountains. There's a number of different obstacles that can appear before you with very little or no notice. We're talking about animals, we're talking about branches, we're talking about roads that have collapsed under landslides and so forth. And then you have all the other people using the roads with you. So you will have, and I have seen 10-year-old kids riding scooters in towns with no helmet, and if they're 10 years old they don't have a license either. You will see more predominantly in the regional areas and the towns, a lot of people don't wear helmets at all. Mind you, they're not doing 120 kilometers an hour either, but you know, it's the law. You'll also see motorbikes and scooters travelling in the far left-hand lane going the opposite way, as in towards you. Now, that happens a fair bit, and I've been surprised by that a couple of times. I think to add the safety from those people's perspective, they make sure they've got their headlights on and they've got their right indicator on to suggest that they are staying on that side of the lane, even though they are going the wrong way. You'll have van drivers, you'll have pickup drivers doing phenomenal speeds and taking risks that they really don't need to, and animals as well. I mentioned animals before, but there could be buffalo, there could be lizards, snakes, you name it. They all have the tendency just to pop out on the road every now and then, so you need to be aware of that. If you're turning a blind corner up in the mountains, you have no idea what's going to be just beyond your sight line, and you'll have very little time to react, so expect it. It's as simple as that. Now, what if you don't have a driver's license or a motorbike license when you're living in Thailand? Okay, so without drilling down into too many details, it's important to remember that you can only apply and get a Thai driver's license, motorbike license, if you're actually living here, if you are on a long-term visa. Now, I'm on a non-O retirement visa, which I renew and will renew very soon for my first 12 months. I'm not too sure about the DTV visa, but it's important to remember, and no matter what I say now, it's important to remember to do your research before you do these sorts of things. I'll try and provide some links for you down in the description. But it's important to remember that you need to make sure that you have all the appropriate documents, which includes your visa. You will also need a doctor certificate. You can go to any local clinic and get a doctor certificate to clear you from, and it's a fairly minor exercise, they'll take your blood pressure, they'll check your eyesight and your hearing. Apart from that, that's it. Okay, it's obviously just a quick medical check to make sure that you are able to physically function and utilize a motorbike or a car. You'll also need a residency certificate. Now, as I said, you're going to need the correct visa that will allow you to get a residency certificate, which states that you are actually living in an address, and making sure that that residency certificate reflects the area that you're living in or the province that you're living in, because there is a little bit of a disconnect between having a residency certificate in one province but then applying for a license in another province. Why you do that, I'm not too sure, but if you do happen to move to another location, you may need to update some of those details with the Land Transport Office. So be aware of that. Make sure you do a little bit of research, and I say that because what's correct now may not necessarily be correct in a month's time, 6 months' time, 12 months' time, whatever the case may be. Some of the legislation that I've observed here in Thailand does change from time to time. They will also suggest that something is going to change, different requirements are going to be needed to be satisfied in a few months' time, but you may not hear about that for a while. It may not be well publicised, but it may be on their website. So keep up to date with that, and I may update some of those details as I become aware of them. Maybe I'll do a short or update the video to let you know what that is. Bit of a disclaimer, as I've already said, what I say is based on my experiences. What you may find in 3, 6, 12 months time may well be slightly different or different altogether. So just make sure that you do your research and check those requirements. Now, the next topic I want to talk about is the Thai police and my experiences with Thai police. Some people may have different, good, bad, in between. I can tell you that every encounter that I've had with Thai police has actually been a very, very good one. Now, to start off with, I will say that the Thai police are very, very respectful. They will speak to you in, a very polite, courteous, respectful way. They'll ask you for the documents thereafter, i.e. a rental agreement for a motorbike, your license, and so forth. They've even actually helped me with directions on a couple of occasions when I've sort of been lost. And in fact, once I did get pulled over for not having my permit on me. So I ended up having a conversation with this police officer, not too far from where I am at the moment actually, and asked him about where I could actually go about getting my Thai motorbike license. This was my last holiday visit to Thailand before moving here, and brought up the maps on my phone, showed me exactly where, and gave me as much information that he could through the limited English that he knew as well. So, but we even had a little bit more of a conversation through Google Translate, which, even though I got a 500 baht fine, he was doing his job. I did the wrong thing, but courteous, respectful, even a chuckle every now and then as we're talking along and getting our languages interpretation mixed up. Which leads me to today. Now, tomorrow, I'm actually allowed to go out to one of the traffic checkpoints. Again, not too far from here, where I got pulled up the last time. And they've given me permission to photograph this traffic checkpoint. Now, the reason I want to do that is because there's been some conjecture about foreigners deliberately being targeted for non-compliance with a lot of the rules. Helmets, licenses are the major ones, and that's not entirely true. From my experience, I have seen both foreigners and locals being pulled up for exactly the same things. Now, where the perception comes from, I believe, that foreigners are targeted is because foreigners are more likely to be offending in those certain situations. I believe that foreigners being pulled over for license checks would be a very valid reason, because I would estimate that a lot of them don't have the appropriate license. And another obvious one is that foreigners tend not to wear helmets. But having said that, I have noticed in the certainly the last 3 to 6 months, they actually updated or upgraded the fine for not wearing a helmet from 500 baht to 2,000 baht. Okay, so 500 baht in Australian money is about $20, pushed right up to nearly $100. So it's a significant jump. However, having said that, I do know the police do have at their disposal their personal discretion as to what fine they set. So I believe the minimum is still going to be 500. It's not a bartering situation. If they deem that you are arrogant, rude and blatantly disregarding the traffic act, then they'll fine you the most, okay, for the maximum they can, 2,000 baht. So be aware that Thai police do have that discretion, but courtesy is a reciprocal arrangement that benefits everybody. You are kind, courteous, respectful to the Thai police, they will be the same. They are going to be anyway. But if you want to be a dick about it, then their discretion will be utilised and it's not going to be in your favour. So just be aware of that. Now, I sort of got off topic there a little bit, but I actually spent a little bit of time this morning in the Chiang Mai police station the traffic police station down by the Ping River near the Warrawat markets. And while I waited a little while, it was only because the boss, the colonel of the local police station, he was on the phone. He was busy. I think he was going into a meeting, but I did speak to a couple of his subordinates, one being the traffic captain, I believe, and the technical officer, which, because I was asking permission to video the police and take some photos of the police station, then I didn't want to get into trouble, so I thought I'd go through the correct channels. And to be honest with you, I couldn't have met nicer people, nicer, friendly, professional people that worked in that police station. And the boss, the colonel, instructed the technical man that I was speaking to, Kun Nat, thank you very much for your help. They gave me permission to go out tomorrow morning and video the situation. And again, it's more the case of showing that police do have that presence. And it's not to point out foreigners, it's not to point out anyone in specifically, any specific, nationality or anything. It's they're doing their job, trying to make the roads a little bit safer. And I did wait for a little while in the police station. I sat down in a nice comfortable lounge area, air conditioned. They brought me a bottle of water. And when I did speak to Kun Nat, explained to me that I'm not to get into the police officer's way, I'm not to interrupt what they are doing, but I'm more than welcome to video what goes on, explain the situation as we go along. And the captain that is going to be at this particular traffic checkpoint speaks relatively good English. So I'm hoping to show you that Thai police are actually doing what they can to reduce those statistics and make sure everybody is safe and happy and enjoys their holidays, enjoys the rest of their lives. So I'm actually looking forward to that. So I'll leave it here for now. I've got plenty to say on this, but I'll leave it for now, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Okay, before I forget, I've been filming here today, as I said before, at the Hui Cow Arboretum, and I'm in a little area here that looks like it's a series of administration buildings. There's some glass houses a bit further down, so I'm not sure if the public really should be wandering around here, but I've seen a number of people and they haven't kicked me out, so it should be okay. Okay, so this gate here, so I'm on the edge of the Arboretum, and ahead of me there is, I think there's a couple of businesses and some residential dwellings there. But as you come through, which is alongside the Chiang Mai Zoo, and come through here, some decorative rock fencing here. And where I've been sitting is just over there underneath that umbrella. Nice little garden here with some tables and benches. There's a little rotunda just over there in the distance. A little spirit house. A beautiful place, got plenty of trees. It is a sunny day, but where I am right now, it isn't. I think it's starting to get a little bit overcast. It is late afternoon in the wet season, so although we had some rain this morning, it will generally rain in the afternoon, and it is around about that time now, but the sky does look quite nice up there. And these signs say Royal Forest Department, Chiang Mai Centre number 1. So I think that's what that says. I did Google Translate, but it gave me about 5 different options, so I'll take that as the number 1 office for the Forestry Department in Chiang Mai. Let's walk around the back of one of these buildings here. You can see there's a number of different reservoirs or lakes in and around the Arboretum and the Chiang Mai University. You can see in the distance there, that's just one of the many buildings. It's a beautiful place around here. I live not too far from here, and I used to drive through the university all the time just for the gardens and peace and quiet. There's a lot of university students and lecturers wandering around. It's a huge place, huge number of faculties, engineering, sciences, physics, you name it, it's all here. Now, where I am is fairly peaceful. I can hear some traffic in the distance. Over that way is Hua Khao Road, which is the road, if you've been to Chiang Mai before, or you live in Chiang Mai, and you've been up to Wat Pratat Doi Suthep Temple, that's the road that you go up there. Okay, so it's a fairly busy road. However, I'm shielded acoustically somewhat by all the trees. But it's just a beautiful place to wander around. It's actually a good place to do this video. Nice and peaceful, in the shade. And this is just a small part of it, as I said. Alright, just thought I'd throw that in there because it is a beautiful place. If you just want to go and chill out somewhere, come here. Chiang Mai University, plenty of gardens, lakes, creeks, the Arboretum next door, where I am now. It's a beautiful place. Alright, just thought I'd throw that in there for you. Again, I'll see you tomorrow morning.